Welcome to another episode of What Did the Patient Say with Doctors Dana and Lauren Brindisi, sisters and owners of Carolina Functional Neurology Center. We are providing you answers to frequently asked questions and bringing you inside information from real conversations we have with patients on a daily basis. Our goal is to spread the truth on health and healing because we believe everyone deserves to know the answers.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of What Did the Patient Say with myself, Dr. Lauren, and I'm here with one of my patients, Celsea. Welcome, Celsea.
Hi, how are you doing?
I am good. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, of course. It's such a pleasure.
So we'll just jump right into it. Can you tell us what was your original diagnosis and what kind of symptoms were you experiencing?
Right. So originally back in February of 2022, I was diagnosed with COVID. Some of my symptoms included just a sore throat, a cough, and just some general fatigue. And then shortly after that, I noticed that my heart rate would spike every time I would stand up or change my body position from laying down to standing. So those are some of my initial symptoms.
So after you start experiencing those symptoms, what did you do? Where did you go? What kind of care were you receiving?
Yeah. So initially, the process was extremely frustrating. So at the time, the symptoms I was experiencing, they weren't extremely present on the outside. They were more what I could feel internally. Like I could feel my heart rate rise every time I would stand up. And at one point, it got to be so bad where I would get super out of breath and have difficulty with doing my job because I worked at a veterinary clinic and I had difficulty lifting the animals and lifting different cages. So I saw a doctor to see what was going on. And initially they told me, well, we recommend going off of your ADD medication because that could be elevating your heart rate. So I was off of that medication for a while and I still had the same symptoms, same experience, everything. So I went back to the doctor. They referred me to a cardiologist, and the cardiologist initially told me that I just had anxiety, which was very frustrating to hear as a patient. I knew that there was something going on with my body. I knew there was something wrong, and I knew it wasn't normal for me to go from laying down to standing up and my heart rate spike up to 140 to 160. I just knew that that wasn't normal. So despite what this doctor said, I ended up seeking more help. I saw a cardiac electrophysiologist, and unfortunately they said that there was nothing that they could do. I saw a hematologist, and eventually my dad and we were so frustrated because we weren't getting any answers. And I knew that something was wrong with me. So we were looking up different clinics online, and we came across Carolina Functional Neurology Center.
Okay. So you saw a few different doctors. You finally found us. What was your experience when you came in here for that initial exam?
So the initial exam was really easy. Everyone was very pleasant over the phone whenever I called to make the appointment. I had to answer some questions online about any previous treatment that I've had and what my process has been so far with my diagnosis and what symptoms I've had. I basically came to Carolina Functional Neurology Center. I came with my dad, and there were several different tests that I had to do. So I had to do I'm so sorry, I'm blanking on the name, where you wear these goggles, and then it's a test like your eye movement. And I also had to do different balance tests, and also I had to monitor my heart rate, like laying down versus standing up, and there were a bunch of different things that I had to do, and and a saliva test as well. And so all that was really interesting. It was more than what any of the other doctors had done. I had also seen another neurologist in the past few months after I had COVID too. And they suggested they didn't really know what was going on. They thought it could be related to COVID, but they weren't sure. So I was happy to finally be at a place where I could get some answers. And so as a result of this testing, I was diagnosed with post-COVID dysautonomia. And so I've been going through treatments and everything since then.
Yes. So I was looking at your chart. You came in originally for that exam at the end of November 2022, and then you started treatment with us end of December 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a little over a year. We saw you actually yesterday here in the office for a follow-up. We haven't seen you in a couple months. And since then, so you've gone through a few rounds of treatment. You came intensively and then you had school. So we took a little time off. You came back intensively. And so how have you been feeling now since going through treatment over this last year?
I've been feeling really great since going through treatment. I feel like I have more energy. Originally, after I had COVID, I was extremely fatigued. I would come home from school and fall asleep on the couch and sleep pretty much the rest of the night. And my dad noticed that. He said, "Celsea, you're sleeping an abnormal amount. Like, this isn't normal." But since having treatment with Carolina Functional Neurology Center, I have a lot more energy during the day. I actually feel like working out during the day. I used to be very active. I played tennis, I danced, I would do exercise. I was on my feet every single day. And since I had the post-COVID dysautonomia, I haven't been able to do any of that. So the year 2022 to 2023, I gained probably 60 pounds just because I wasn't active. But since I've had treatment, I'm able to start going to the gym. I go on walks outside every day, and I feel like I have more energy, and my heart rate doesn't spike also whenever I stand up.
Awesome. So Celsey's had, a long road. She's been really diligent over the last year on top of going to school and starting a new job. And so when we saw her yesterday, our biggest concern in terms of the check-in was starting this new job and having to drive far for that. We wanted to make sure that she didn't have any kind of flare up to her symptoms because of this major change in her life. And you did really well. We were, not only did you feel that way, but objectively, we did not really see any significant change in your heart rate when you changed position. So at this point, we're just monitoring Celsea over time, but we're hopeful that she's made it past the worst of this and can get on with her life.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very hopeful, and I feel so much better than I did a year ago today.
So my last question for you is, do you have any advice for somebody who may be experiencing similar symptoms to you? Any advice?
I think my biggest piece of advice would be to not stop fighting for yourself. I think if I had seen the first doctor and just agreed with his diagnosis that I had anxiety, I would still be feeling horrible today. So I'm glad that with the help of my dad, I advocated for myself and fought and saw doctor after doctor until I finally saw someone that was focused on treating the root cause of my issue and diagnosing me and not dismissing my problems.
I think that's great. Well, thank you so much, Celsea, for coming on and sharing your story. We really appreciate it. And congratulations on all your progress.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.